Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena and back to some more historic best of one. Today's deck is going to be a all-time hated deck, I would imagine, by quite a lot of people, but it's an archetype that I do very much enjoy. We're going to be playing some Taking Turns today with a spicy little card, a card that I've been trying to make work for God knows how long. That's going to be God Eternal Kefnet. 4 mana 4/5 with flying. When you reveal the first card that you draw each turn, then you get to reveal an instant or sorcery card, and then you can copy that card for that turn. It costs 2 less to cast. And then when it dies or is put into exile, you can put it onto the top third of your library. So, we're going to be using God Eternal Kefnet in a instant and sorcery deck matters kind of list, so that we can take extra turns. Mystical Archives gave us Time Warp, a 5 mana sorcery that just allows us to take an extra turn after this one. Absolutely love this card. I fell in love with taking turns when I was watching people playing in Modern, and I thought it was awesome. And, you know, getting Time Warp back into Historic doesn't bother me in the slightest, but I know that it's very polarizing. A lot of people probably really despise taking turns decks, and it's understandable, you know. But you know what? If you've lost, you should scoop. That's the way I see it. Anyway, Alrund's Epiphany is the one from Kaldheim as well, the more recent one, I guess, not printed into kind of supplemental forms. A 7 mana, create 2 bird creature tokens, and then take an extra turn after this one. However, Alrund's Epiphany is exiled after that, which basically balances the extra turn spells. That's probably why people don't like Time Warp, is because when this one resolves, it goes into the graveyard instead of into the ether, which means we can actually recur it with things like Tamiyo, Collector of Tales. The -3 allows us to return a card from our graveyard to our hand, so Tamiyo is also an extra turn spell in that sense, which is really cool. We also have a couple more Mystical Archives cards in here. This deck is very much not budget at all. We've got Brainstorm and Abundant Harvest. These cards are really good for this deck. So, Abundant Harvest, a 1 mana green sorcery. You get to choose either a land or non-land, and then reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a card of the chosen kind. Then you get to put that card into your hand, the rest of the bottom on your library in a random order. So it's basically draw a card, but you get to choose to a certain extent what you're going to get. So if you need the land, obviously this is going to make sure that you hit your land drops every turn, which is fantastic. What you can also do is use Abundant Harvest to fix your Brainstorm. So Brainstorm is a really powerful card draw effect. However, it's somewhat balanced in Historic right now because we don't have fetch lands, essentially. We do have Fable Passage, which is a really good inclusion for the list. But I guess for those who don't know what Brainstorm is, I'll go into it. It's a blue mana instant. You draw 3 cards, and then you put 2 cards from your top of your hand, onto the top of your library in any order, which basically means you're going to draw those cards in the future turns. So it's not really, it's like extending the size of your hand by an extra 2 cards in a nutshell, because you know what you're going to draw, and you get to choose what order you draw them in. So if you don't need them at that moment in time, then they might as well just be sat on the top of your deck anyway. But what we can do is a number of things. Brainstorm, for one, can allow you to put bad cards back into your deck. So we can put any 2 cards back on top and then shuffle our library with Fable Passage, which is a good one to do. We can also set up the top card of our deck so that we know what it is, so that Tamiyo's tick up gets a guaranteed card draw effect there. And also we can set it up so God Eternal Kefnet, we know what Kefnet is going to hit. So in that case, we actually know that we're going to be able to cost reduce a card if we really want to. So we can put a Time Warp on top of our deck, and then it costs 3 mana to take an extra turn. And all the while we're doing all these extra turns, we have a 4/5 in play that we can constantly beat our opponent with. Also, Brazen Borrowers as well, 3 ones that can attack. This is our only form of interaction, really, with our opponent, short of just beating them down and blocking. So Epiphany makes 1/1s, Nissa makes 3/3s. Brazen Borrower is a 3/1 that can do some attacking, but the actual only interaction for this list is Petty Theft here. Return target non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. I do believe that you cannot reveal Brazen Borrower with Kefnet and actually use the Petty Theft side. I could be wrong about that. Yeah, because I think you reveal this as a creature, because the top card of it is a creature. It just so happens to have an instant at the bottom of there. which is why it's a creature in the graveyard and not an instant as well. But anyway, let's talk about it a little bit more. We've got Growth Spirals and Explores to help us make our land drops as well, because we do really need to get to 5 mana so we can do our Nissas, our Time Warps, and whatnot as well. And yeah, I think, in short, that's really going to be the list. I think it should explain itself as we go, and most of you know what taking extra turns looks like as well, so I won't explain it much further than that. If you do enjoy the content, though, I would really appreciate it if you do hit that like button and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get to the gameplay. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Okay, we're in, and we've got a turn 1 Brainstorm if we want it, with a Growth Spiral on turn 2. Yeah, probably going to keep this hand. I think we do go with the Brainstorm here, because if our opponent's playing a Lurrus deck with black in it, then turn 1 Thoughtseize is potentially a thing. And with the Brainstorm, we can actually tuck cards that we don't want our opponent to see. Alright, well in this case, they're looking for 3 CMC or less cards, so let's just get rid of one of them. And then let's put back the other 2. And we'll draw the Growth Spiral, I suppose. And now our opponent's Inquisition has done nothing. Seems reasonable. Alright. I will shock here so we can Growth Spiral. It's Rogues. Alright. I was looking forward to having fun today, but I can see that's just not going to happen. Do I want the Brazen Borrower? Not really, but I don't have a choice, do I? Okay. Another Brainstorm. Well, I can shuffle it all away, so that's cool. Let's Brainstorm first for a land drop. Got it. Spare Kefnet can go. And I guess spare Brazen Borrower can go. Doesn't matter the order here. Gonna put you on blue. We'll hold the Brazen Borrower on top just in case we need it. Or in case we think we need it. But I am gonna foretell Alrund's Epiphany here so that it costs 6. I probably just would rather have a land drop to make my 5 drops next turn. Cool. Glad that even when I'm winning, I can't have fun against rogues. Fair enough. Did I have fun? Absolutely not. But yeah, let's go for the next game. Okay, we go first. We've got turn 1 Brainstorm, turn 2 Growth Spiral, turn 3 Brazen Borrower. Scattered in there somewhere, maybe. I think we probably do want to go Island here, in case our opponent is going to go with a Hand Disruption spell. We can hide some stuff. Inquisition. Okay, so probably unlikely to save cards from an Inquisition, but at least we get to choose kind of what cards they take here. Never mind, we get to entirely choose what our opponent doesn't take, so that's good. Alright. Today's a good day, chat. Today is a good day. Alright, Hindland Harbour, go. Can't survive another Inquisition, but highly doubt that our opponent's going to try it again, even if they could. After that massacre of a Hand Disruption spell. Let's put Breeding Pool into play tapped, pass the turn. Kefnet. Maybe we'll play that. I think the odds of us drawing a Time Warp off the top are worth the attempt here. Opponent might have like what's the name of the card now? Spark Harvest? Thoughtseize. Alright. Not exactly the finest Thoughtseize, but you can have it. Takes Brazen Borrower, fair enough. So next turn, barring drawing absolutely nothing at all, that's a fatal push, so we're not going to block. Drawing nothing at all, we're actually going to... Well, I'll reveal that. Free growth spiral. I was going to foretell my Alrund's Epiphany, but to be honest... Drawing an extra card seems just kind of nice there. I think we will foretell, though, here. Set up land drop off the top as an extra turn spell.
And it's spelled T-U-R-N.
What? Okay, fair enough. We're not going to reveal that. Alexa's just having a little bit of a senior moment, it seems. Right, so revealed growth spiral. There's a land. Cool. We actually should have gone explore, because I've just realised that we could have, on our opponent's turn, used God Eternal Kefnet's triggered ability there. But oh well. Crack the Fabled Passage. Grab another forest, I guess, assuming we get Nissa. Let's explore. Brazen Borrower is a pretty decent one. We're going to hold that just in case our opponent gets empty-handed to attack him with a Hazaret, and then we can just bounce it back and time walk our opponent, as it were. Tap land. Is that Helix my face? It was. Then again, actually... We need our opponent to tap out with the black mana, because we assumed earlier that they had Fatal Push, and I think the assumption still stands. Fatal Push their Hazaret. Okay. Well, now they don't have Fatal Push. So we let them attack in, assuming that they think they're going to get 5 damage in. They're not. Yeah. They've now, just because they thought they were going to get a good attack in, thrown away their Pyromancer. We block that, and then we just take all the turns, and then probably get a decent amount of combat damage in. So let's just assume that we never draw anything good, other than, I guess, a land. So next turn, we've got Alrund's Epiphany, attack for 4. Turn after that, we're attacking for 6, so that puts them to 10. And then, hopefully, we have the mana then to Alrund's Epiphany, which then allows us to attack for a little bit more, and then the untap kills our opponent. So yeah, it looks like we had it in the bag there, assuming that we draw reasonably well. I suppose we also have the Brazen Borrower as well to add to the combat damage list there as well, so should be able to close it out easily enough. Cool. Next game. Alrighty then, on the draw we got a Brainstorm, which we need to find a green source with, and 2 cards we don't want to have in our hand right now, but a fine later down the line. I'm gonna keep this. Soul Warden. Alright, so we are up against Angels. I'm gonna wait on the Brainstorm until our turn, I think, because if we draw a green source, cool, we're gonna, like, Growth Spiral probably. If we draw a Fabled Passage, then we get to shuffle away some cards, which is also really nice. I don't think any draw step that we get here really changes what we do. There's a green source. Alright, so now we get to put some cards back. Let's put back Alrund's Epiphany and spare Kefnet. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go Forest, and we're going to reset the top of our deck by naming land here. There we go, because we do still need the lands. We've got an additional draw here. Righteous Valkyrie, alright. We're in spooky trouble time now. So, Growth Spiral. Put Forest into play. Abundant Harvest on non-land. Reading Pool is... sorry, Brazen Borrower is pretty good. Ugh. That's not a good sign. So you're saying that we're dead. Let's take an extra turn. Four, five, six, seven. So they only have to put 4 toughness worth of creatures into play with 3 lands and 3 cards. That's doable. And a Soul Warden. And double Valkyrie. So essentially we're dead to that. My only chance is a little bit of a whiff from them and we play Kefnet with a Brazen Borrower. And hope that the math checks out on bouncing creatures here. Angel of Vitality. Alright, so just bounce the Righteous Valkyrie. Opponent gains more than enough life to Lord effect here. And then we're forced to block. Jeez. Huh. Interesting. Alright, opponent gives us a chance to win. Let's not reveal that because it's embarrassing. Wow, okay. Well, that's very embarrassing. Next game. Okay, we're in. We've got some cards that we would rather not draw, but Brainstorm can put them back and then we can Fable Passage them. Seems good. What are we up against? Godless Shrine, Thoughtseize. Alright, goodbye Brainstorm. Assuming our opponent wants to ruin our draws a little bit here. Honestly, if you take Tamiyo, I'm going to be so happy. Brazen Borrower. I'm also very happy to see that. So I think we're probably gonna shock the Brainstorm here in case they have more hand disruption. Then we get to choose what they take next time. Otherwise, we could probably just do it on our turn and then shuffle away Epiphany and Tamiyo. Seem like reasonable cards to shuffle away. Spicy. The only reason I would want to Brainstorm now is if I drew into a 2-drop. Which is kind of likely, but yeah, I'm not too concerned about it. Alright, land go. Now we'll shuffle away, like, probably these two. If I had to guess. Faithless Looting. Watch you on, opponent. Some Reanimator list of some sort, I guess. So, Burial Rites. It's a card I would expect. Double land, wow. It's not exactly what you want to be discarding, but I don't know. I guess our opponent is flooded a bit. Looting again. There's the Rites and a Dracoseth. Alright, so I would have loved to have gotten a Brazen Borrower, which I guess is why they shuffled it. Oh, they discarded it, sorry. So let's try and draw into one. We didn't. So we're going to put the Epiphany and the Epiphany back, I guess. Too expensive right now, so we don't really want to be drawing them. So let's go and discard. Grab a Forest because of the Nissa. Look at that, beautiful. Alright. I'm probably just gonna... Oh. Game. Thank you. Probably just gonna play a Hinterland Harbor here so we can borrow a plus Brainstorm if we want to. So yeah, if their turn is just land, Rites, Dracoseth. Actually, it probably wouldn't be, would it? It'd be Bladewing Dracoseth. Yeah. Either way, though, we get rid of Dracoseth on the reanimation. Strand that in our opponent's hands somewhat. Make them actually work for it. I'm not too fussed about 4-4, so... Next turn I'm going to be playing Tamiyo here, so let's brainstorm. Epiphany. And Passage. Put Passage on top to shuffle away the Epiphany. Grab... You got double blue already, so let's grab a green source. So, I do have a Tamiyo that can minus. Minus for Brazen Borrower is fine. I could explore to try and find another land drop. And then I can flash in Brazen Borrower to block the Blade Wing or something like that. I do kind of want to be at 5 mana for Nissa. Good stuff. Well, that worked out. Closing in on where we want to be. So, that bad tempo that we gave them for the Drakoseth bounce forces them to do the Faithless looting this turn, so they're really just not doing much. Drakoseth and a Velimarcus into the yard. So... Have we seen any removal from them? We've seen Lightning Helix. I'm thinking of using Brazen Borrower to protect my Nissa, but it's probably not going to protect at all. But I guess it's better than protecting my face. Use my life total as a resource here. I can't imagine that they can 14 me out of nowhere, so... So end step the Borrower. That's a really good pickup. So that means we can go Nissa here. Untap the Breeding Pool, gives us Petty Theft. And then we can swing for 6 here. So we can Petty Theft anything that goes after Nissa if we want, which means we can Time Warp and constantly tick up Nissa as we do it, eventually getting Tamiyo down to minus for a Time Warp as well. So this game should be locked up now. And Burial Rites Velimarcus. Alright, so I bounce Velimarcus. They can only deal 4 to Nissa, and now they lose. Bad attack.
You try my patience.
You're dead. Alright, so Forest Float, Forest untap, take an extra turn. Play a land. Fetch with the land. Grab. More forests, I guess. We can do 9 points and then do our extra combat step for next turn, so it seems pretty reasonable to me. Let's just put our opponent out of their misery. We could play a Tamiyo, there's really no reason to. Good stuff. Alrighty then, we're in, and this hand looks pretty keepable to me. It's nice and early, it's got some ramp to it as well. We can Abundant Harvest for the extra land so the Explore can do its thing. Or we can go non-land to try and find more Explores. Seems pretty good. I have a hard time seeing us ever miss a land drop with this hand. Brazen Borrower for our opponent. Alright, so I'm going to go land. We've got 3 lands already. So I'm going to go non-land with Abundant Harvest here. Find Brainstorm, okay. And it's going to be... Elves? Yeah, Elves. Interesting. Alright, so on blue, please. 1, 2, 3, 4... 5 mana, so not too much to worry about with Allosaurus Shepard just yet. So let's go exploring. Grab another Alrund's Epiphany. We'll put this on blue and then Brainstorm. This is one of those matchups where I guess a couple of fogs would be quite nice. But not in this version of the build. We're going to get rid of the Alrund's Epiphanies with the Brainstorm. Probably redraw one, of course, as well. Elvish Clan Caller, alright. So, taking a little bit of a whacking. Oh dear. Oh dear, chat. That's not a good sign. Yeah, being a Brazen Borrower deck, we don't exactly have great tempo here. So I can bounce the Shepherd so I don't die. So I would literally be dead to land if I don't. So let's do that. And then I'm not going to be drawing anything good. Have I made MadeLad drop? Yes. So yeah, like Brainstorm could reveal an Abundant Harvest, but that's really about it. I think I'd much rather just hold up and Brazen Borrower here, try and maybe survive by bouncing the Clan Caller and only taking 3 for the turn. But I know that I'm not going to be drawing anything good, so I'm pretty sure I'm just dead anyway. Tyvar Kell. Wow, okay. Well, they only have... Well, actually, no, they have green and black mana now, so they could probably get the last card out. I don't think bouncing anything there would have changed that. So I need this Brazen Borrower for the Allosaurus Shepard, so maybe I want to try and get a land drop for Brainstorm. Use Nissa to... Well, they're floating for something. Let's assume they're floating for something they want to cast here, so let's just get rid of it. Even just recast Paradise Druid, I guess, if they want. I don't know. I just don't know if there's a single card that I can draw here that really keeps me alive. Rid of these two. Abundant Harvest for land to get rid of them. Play this on green. Play this for non-land to try and get a Brazen Borrower. Brainstorm. Can only hit another Brainstorm. So we just Alrund's Epiphany and we hope that our opponent doesn't know how their Allosaurus Shepard works. Which, you know, isn't going to happen. But worth a try, right? Worth a try. Yep. And there's 18. Alright, next game. Alright, we go first. A little bit of a slow hand, but it has an Explore to get us into these lovely little cards. So I'm going to give it a shot. Opponent's going to go for a mull. It's hard to justify mulliganing a lot in Historic, because just Thoughtseize is everywhere. You really shouldn't be mulling against a deck that you know is going to be running a Thoughtseize. It's a little bit easier to know when you see your opponent running Lurrus. That's usually a big warning sign. Okay, well, we're going to go on Forest here. Could go on Island, because, you know, Islands are far scarier than untapped Forest. Tithe Taker. Not really a concern. In fact, we've got a really good turn up ahead of us, I think. So, double for Tell. Next turn we can go Nissa, who shakes the world. Ugh, no we can't. So we're up against a Death and Taxes list, eh? Interesting. Let's put this on blue, I suppose. And there's a good chance I can draw something here with Brainstorm that's relevant, so let's just go for it. Just made my land drop, so let's put you back, you back. Leave the Forest on top. So at least that's a Nissa. The problem is... Well, the problem is Elite Spellbinder at the moment. I'm assuming they want to take Nissa, who shakes the world. She gets to tick up to 6. So technically she's dead from an all-out attack, but the Nissa land gets to block one of them. And we could wait on it by going Kefnet as well. Wow, this is a board right now. It's making me really wish I had River's Rebukes in my deck. Okay. We know we're drawing nothing good next turn. So Kefnet doesn't really have too much of an impact. If we were to play Kefnet, that would give us a blocker. Our opponent has the Faceless Haven, but we can block that. Our opponent sacks the Dauntless Bodyguard, so we're taking 7. Then next turn we would Nissa, who shakes the world. We'd have a Breeding Pool untapped. That means we've got 4 mana to play with. I might just take the extra turn here. Alrund's Epiphany costs 7, but we can pay for that with a Breeding Pool. So we get another redraw. I'm not sure when the right time to get Nissa down would be, but I guess it would be after we have 2 1/1s to block. So give me the 2 extra 1/1s. We also potentially get Nissa down with extra lands to play with as well, so could do this.
I protect that which cannot protect itself.
Float some mana. Get the island out there. I actually don't know if we even Growth Spiral. I don't think we do. Like, we've got some really good blocks here. We should probably try to keep Nissa alive. I think it's greedy to go for a Growth Spiral that could potentially risk Nissa dying. Yep. Okay. Well, that worked out. So what was our plan there? Assuming that they attacked, let's have a look at their attacks. So bad attack, bad attack. This makes a free attack, so the Faceless Haven could get in. We trade an island for a Faceless Haven. Nissa only takes 2. Then we untap with 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. This is 7. It'd be 12 mana, actually, with Nissa. So 7. No, it's not 7, actually. It's 6. Because the Tithe Taker is the one that's doing the taxing ability, but only on our opponent's turn. So this is 6, this is 3, that's 9. So we get to Kefnet plus Growth Spiral, and get another 3/3 with plenty of blockers up at that point. So yeah, I think they are kind of dead. They'd need like a Skyclave Apparition for Kefnet, otherwise our top decks are just really disgustingly good. And yeah, pretty reasonable. Next game. Alrighty then, opponent goes first. We have a pretty good hand, so we're going to keep this one. We got turn 1 Abundant Harvest, turn 2 Explore. Potentially actually Brazen Borrower at this rate. We're going to go non-land here, I think. Yeah, Growth Spiral's pretty good. It could be Phoenix, so maybe a Brazen Borrower to bounce something nasty might be worthwhile. It's Teamer. Okay. So we do have the Growth Spiral, but we also have the Explore. The Growth Spiral's better when we have Kefnet out, but we have no Kefnet. So actually, with Brazen Borrower plus Growth Spiral, I think it's correct to wait on it. So you never know, I could get some pretty good tempo by bouncing whatever this is. I don't really care to bounce that, honestly. And let's go Forest. Another Explore. Alright, so let's get our double blue. We'll go Explore so we can play the Fabled Passage, Alrund's Epiphany. I think I'm just going to go with Epiphany Fatale here. That means a land drop off the top can get us 2 1/1s and a redraw, which isn't the worst. Escape to the Wild. So I was a little confused what a Team of deck could be, and this one's... Oh, it's Team of Clover. I hadn't seen that in a while. So you get to play an extra land drop. I don't think they've... Did they play one this turn? Yes. So they get 1 extra land drop, so they can't play the Clover right now. Take 2. We're not going to crack the Fable Passage because we want to draw a land. 3, 4, 5, yeah, with only 1 land, I don't think we Time Warp. Because we only have the 6 mana to play with. Let's get our 4th blue source. I can't imagine it necessarily matters, but you never know, right? There's a Tameo. So I don't think we're in any rush of dying here, so... Well, what could Fae of Wishes get? It would leave them with 3 mana. They could get, like, I don't know, like a Damping Sphere? I don't know if we really care about much of whatever Fae of Wishes gets, so we should probably take the risk of drawing the extra land for a Time Walk here. Grab another forest. At this point we want just all the forests for the Nissa. Take an extra turn. Swing on in. Got a Time Warp. So we're actually going to go Alrund's Epiphany here. Swing on in. We've already got a Time Walk in the bin, so... This only gives me 4. Gonna take it though.
Let us have a storied battle worth retelling.
Let's tick up, go for Nissu Shakes the World, maybe? It's the quickest way for us to win the game. Ooh, there's a Kefnet in the yard. Might be a bit late for Kefnet, honestly, but... Swing for 4, put our opponent to 11. So -3 on Tameo, so if she goes to 4, it's the same as her being on 6, really, because we're going to be minusing for another extra turn spell. I think I'm safe to let our opponent do whatever they want here. So they've got Land Drop Forest, Fae of Wishes, 3 mana to play with, so no Escape to the Wilds. Clover could have... I don't even know what Clover could do. Lovestruck Beast's Heart as a Dire, I guess? That's really about the only thing we have to worry about, because I don't think our opponent gets to untap again after the end of their turn. They really need to do something here that wins the game. Which I guess is possible. It's a lot of mana, of course. Extra turn spells for them would work, so Lucky Clover. Maybe they're going for double sideboard with the Fae of Wishes. It's a bit greedy. But if you were going to play Lucky Clover anyway, I suppose you might as well. Okay. So, I guess my concern... Oh, they didn't even attack. My concern, I guess, would have been double Stomp. Would have kept me from using Tameo to tick down immediately. Brazen Borrow Tameo, okay. And a token. 3, 6, 9... Yeah, okay, we're gonna go Brazen Borrower, Hydroid Crisis. I think we can make a turn sequence where we are 11 our opponent here. Assuming they don't have Stomp. I should have waited until end step, I'm such an idiot. I thought they were already on their end step, to be honest. Right. So, Tamio.
I am
Minus.
It is an honor to meet you.
Time Warp.
No tale.
Take an extra turn. Pass the turn. Brainstorm. So we can set up Tamio's tick up here. Wowie. Mill this, select this. So I'm going to put Time Warp on top. Play Hinterland Harbour. Name Time Warp with Tamio.
Let me aid your research.
Alrund's Epiphany. So, take an extra turn. Let's explore. Sweet. Let's look at our bottom of our deck. We don't know what it is, so let's thin the deck. We should have basics left, I think. 2 islands? 1 island. Okay. And then we can play Brazen Borrower. Swing for 2. 11, 10, 9. And then it would be 8, 7. I don't know if we swing just yet. Another Brainstorm. Alright, so we either use this to... Ooh. Good stuff. We're going to use Tamio to take an extra turn then. I believe, because we don't want our opponent to untap here. We're going to use Brazen Borrower to bounce the Fae of Wishes, so that we now have attacks. Extra turn with Tamio. 3, 6, 7. Let's take Alrund's Epiphany.
The storied past holds our future.
2 extra 1/1s. So that's 6 damage, and then more than enough to kill our opponent after that. Cool. I think we could have also minus for Time Warp and then put Brazen Borrower in as well. I think that would have also just made enough sense. But figured we'd do it that way because Alrund's Epiphany gets cast a lot less in this deck, so it's nice to get the spicier of the extra turn spells into play instead. Alright, well, taking down Team of Clover, a deck that hasn't been seen in a while, but is notorious for beating me a lot of the time, which is great to finally beat it. But yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's video. If you have, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Let me know if you've been having a look with extra turn spells in the comment section down below. I'd be interested to see what versions you guys have been playing with. Maybe you've got a more refined list than I have. This one's kind of just cobbled together, so you know what? Just kind of wanted to play with Kefnet. There's not many chances to get this card to do good stuff, but I think this is the perfect shell for it, with Brainstorm and extra turn spells. Being a 3-mana extra turn with a God Eternal Kefnet seems pretty disgusting, but yeah. I hope you enjoyed today, guys, and yeah. See you next time. Have a wonderful night.